Bootstrap provides a responsive design by default, which means it tries to arrange and lay out elements on the screen in a way that is optimized for the user's device. On small devices, content will be more vertically arranged, so there's no horizontal scrolling. It's easier to scroll vertically on a phone. And as an example, we'll see in the grid we were just looking at, it will not lay out columns horizontally, but vertically once the screen size drops below a certain width. And all of that is easy and automatic, doesn't require a lot of effort from you. You just need to use the right Bootstrap classes, because Bootstrap achieves this functionality using CSS media queries. Media queries can query a web browser about its capabilities, like what is your minimum width and what's your maximum width, and then it can apply CSS rules only when a query returns true. So Bootstrap can apply different rules for different browser sizes, and Bootstrap organizes displays into one of four categories. There are extra small devices with a width less than 768 pixels. There's small devices, they'll have a width greater than 768. If the device has more than 992 pixels, that'll be a medium device, and then large displays, large devices, that's anything that has at least 1200 pixels in the horizontal direction. So let's take a look at responsive design in our application. Inside of our application, let's observe a couple things as I reduce the width of the browser. Currently, it has at least 992 pixels of width, and it's considered a medium class device. But as I reduce the size, it falls from medium into a small device. So something with more than 768 pixels, but less than 992. And one of the things that will happen at that point is the grid starts stacking content vertically. So Get More Libraries and web hosting can no longer arrange themselves left to right and horizontally, they start to stack vertically. The other thing that will happen as I continue to reduce the width and we cross over into the extra small device is that the navigation bar disappears. There are no links here at the top anymore, but I can click this icon to still get to those links. So again, the whole idea is to make content flow vertically when you're on a small device because it's usually easier to scroll vertically than it is left to right. And this is all done using CSS3 media queries. So let me point out something about this project because CSS3 media queries are not supported by all browsers. Most notably, Internet Explorer 6, 7, and 8 did not support media queries. But fortunately, if we look in the bundle config for this application, you'll see that in addition to sending the Bootstrap JavaScript file, this project also by default includes and sends down a respond.js file. Respond.js is a polyfill, an open source library that you can find on the web. If you haven't heard the term polyfill before, that's the term for a library that tries to fill in holes in a browser. So if a browser like Internet Explorer 8 comes to this website and it doesn't natively support CSS3 media queries, Respond.js can patch that behavior into the browser so that this responsive design should work for all the major browsers that are out there, all the popular browsers, both desktop and mobile, which is good because it's very easy to use and it allows our website to be more usable on other devices. Let's see some of the things that we can do. First, I want to introduce you to some of the utility classes that Bootstrap provides for responsive design. So let's say, for instance, that this big text, ASP.NET, I only want that to appear on medium-sized devices and large devices. So I don't want it to appear on small devices and extra small devices. First, let me get back into the medium category, and then we'll come back into the page. That is the Jumbotron here on index.cshtml. Jumbotron is another Bootstrap component. It styles the content inside to stand out a little more. I want this only to appear on medium and large devices, so I will say that this should be hidden for small devices. And notice these are the Bootstrap abbreviations. So LG for large devices, MD for medium, SM for small, and XS for extra small devices. I can also hide this if someone's going to print the web page. For right now, I want to show you what happens when I just say that this should be hidden on small devices. When I refresh the page, we're still a medium device. ASP.NET still appears. But if I reduce the width of the browser, now we are a small device. It's not appearing anymore. If I go even further, now I'm in the extra small category. So again, this is like the single responsibility principle for CSS classes. Hidden small really only hides things on small devices. If I want it hidden on small and extra small devices, which probably was my intention, I need to include both those classes. Now it doesn't show on the extra small devices or the small devices. Only shows on medium and above. Another way to write this would be to say, I only want this visible on large devices and visible on medium devices. That would have the same effect. And these utility classes can be very useful. You might have a large, rich graphic picture that you want to show on a website, but only on medium or large displays. In that case, you could add the image to the markup, but use these visible classes so it only shows up on the big capable devices. And perhaps on a smaller device, you add classes so that they get a smaller image or they just get a textual representation of the picture. And now let's talk about the grid. First of all, before we look at the grid again, let me remove the push and pull just so it doesn't confuse anything. And let's have each of these columns, we'll give them both 6 units. And now when I collapse into a small device, they will start to stack up vertically. What if that's not the behavior that I want? What if I want them to stay horizontal even on a small device? Well, that's where I could use a different class here. When I say column medium 6, what that is saying is use 6 units of space, but only on medium devices and large devices. If something's a small device, don't use 6 units of space, just take up the whole row and push everything else down. If I change this to be column small 6, then that's telling Bootstrap, keep this at 50% of the space, even on small devices. So now if I come back and refresh the page, even on small devices, these are both 6 units. So medium devices, they're 6 units. Small devices, they're 6 units. Extra small devices, now they start to vertically stack. If I wanted to change that behavior, there is also a column extra small 6, and there's column large 6. So all these permutations are out there. Columns for extra small, small, medium, and large, and the sizes 1 through 12. If I say something like column large 6 and column large 6, that's a way of saying I only want these to take up 50% of the space on a large display. So even on a medium display, which is where I'm at now, those 2 pieces of content are still going to stack. And unfortunately, I can't demonstrate what a large display would look like because that's over 1200 pixels. I only have 1024 to work with here in the video. But I can show you that you can combine these attributes, these classes, in interesting ways. So let's go back to column medium 6 and column medium 6. And then let me add an additional class. So column small 10. And down here on this div, column small 2. And what I'm trying to achieve here is that on medium devices, these 2 pieces of content will be 50-50. They both get 6 units of the row. But on small devices, they will lay out 10 and 2. So this first div gets a lot more space than the second div on small devices. Let's try it out. I'll save that file. Let's go back to being a medium-sized device, refresh the screen. There I can see they lay out 50-50. And as I get smaller, the content is popped up here, but now you can see it, they lay out 10 and 2, 10/12 and 2/12. And this is how you can control how your content is going to respond to devices of different sizes. You have the utility classes like visible and hidden that you can use to target specific categories of devices, extra small, small, medium, and large. You also have different column sizes that you can apply, and you can tell Bootstrap when things should start stacking. Should they start stacking once it drops below medium, or should they start stacking once it drops below small?